One of the questions we've been getting a lot lately is about blogging. How do you start? How do you actually create a good post? How do you know what good keywords are to target? I'm going to show you all of that right now. So to start, one of the best ways to get ideas for blog posts is to just go to adwords.google.com. And once you're in here, you can actually go to the planning section and you can grab the keyword planner. You can search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category. And so we can just punch in here, real estate, and get ideas. And it's literally going to spit out ideas for us. So we can see houses for sale, homes for sale, property for sale. So these are great. If you're a lead sites user, this is what we recommend you do with your InstaFarm pages. Your InstaFarm pages are neighborhood pages that are typically, we recommend this structure: Sonora, homes for sale; Placerville, homes for sale; Grass Valley, homes for sale, because those are some of the top keywords that are searched online. So you're going to want not blog posts, but you're going to want neighborhood pages that just sit on your site for long term. These aren't keywords you would want to use for blog posts necessarily, but you definitely want to hit these for your local market, Albuquerque, homes for sale, that kind of thing, with your neighborhood pages. So as we scroll down, you're going to see that it gets a little bit more specific. This one, for example, condos for sale. That gets pretty good search volume. So if you're in a market where condos are popular, downtown condos, that kind of thing, that might be a good blog post. And so one of the other things that is a kind of a shortcut in creating good blog headlines is to use numbered lists. Numbered lists get clicked and shared more often than, just how to do this, how to do that. Like the 8 ways to do this usually is going to get you a better click-through, a better readership, and a better share rate. So let's take condos for sale. So we can say the 8 things you must know before you buy a condo. Okay, that's a pretty good headline, but what that's going to do is it's going to target anyone who's thinking about buying a condo. But you can localize that as a keyword simply by including your market in the title. 8 things you must know before you buy a condo in downtown San Diego, or whatever your market is. Now that's a good, shareable, clickable, numbered list blog post. We're talking about condos for sale. We're giving helpful advice, and we're targeting our market of San Diego. So another good idea here, MLS listings. We take for granted being in the real estate industry that everyone knows what the MLS is, everyone knows what a listing is, that kind of thing. But if someone's buying their first home, for example, they might not know that lingo. So that could be a blog idea. What is the MLS? Talking about real estate lingo, we could do the 5 real estate terms you must know before buying a house, where you could just write a post about breaking down real estate lingo that people might not be familiar with. That's not a bad idea. Foreclosures, that's a great category. I mean, it might not be something you particularly want to focus on your business, but that's something where you could offer expert advice. You could do foreclosure pros and cons, the 3 mistakes every first-time foreclosure buyer makes, and how to avoid them. That, for anyone who's thinking about buying a foreclosure, that might be a really juicy piece of information that they would want, that they would search for something like that, and they would be interested in reading on your website. For sale by owner, that's a whole nother category that you could start to dive into. I mean, you could do a similar headline to the foreclosures about the pitfalls and the mistakes that people make. So this one might be great. For sale by owner, how to sell smartly on your own and when to use an agent instead. This really, there's a lot of agents have pushback about you don't want to give people advice about how to do a FSBO. But the reality is that if you can give them helpful advice, that it's like, hey, if that's the way you want to go, here's the best way to go about that. What you're going to do is you're not going to just send them down the road to do a FSBO, because what people end up finding out is how much work it is and how difficult it is to actually market their house. But if you give them helpful, real advice about here's how to do it the right way, what you're going to do is you're going to build trust. And then at the end of the article, you're going to have an opportunity to say, here's the things you need to think about, and here are the pros in using an agent instead of going FSBO, and here's the things you need to think about. That could, writing an article like that gives unbiased, helpful information and then has a call to action to contact you at the end if that's what they would rather do. It's not crazy to think that would get you some leads and get you some interest. So townhomes for sale, you could do house or townhome, 3 things to ask yourself before you buy, where you just sort of weigh the pros and cons of here's the type of person who might be more interested in a townhome. Here's someone who would really want to consider buying a detached property. So as we continue to go through these keywords, you're going to see here that buying a house, a very simple keyword, gets a lot of search traffic. You could do the 5 main steps to buying a house in San Diego. And obviously those are going to be the same 5 steps to buying a house anywhere, but using the keyword in San Diego is just going to localize those search results to your market. So terms like this, cheap houses for sale, it's similar to foreclosure with some people who are looking to get a deal and buy something that's a little bit below market value, that kind of thing. So you could use that keyword right up front, cheap houses for sale. Cheap houses for sale, how to really find the best real estate deals in San Diego. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I could just keep going on and on and on and build a list of 20, 30, 40, 50 blog post ideas. You can see that when you're using this keyword search tool, there's no shortage of coming up with ideas for blog posts. And actually, this is the step that I would recommend. If you're taking notes, write step 1, write a big old list of headlines that give you a bunch of ideas for different blog posts, because one of the places where people really get jammed up with blogs is they sit down to a blank page and then they try to come up with an idea from thin air, and then they have to write the blog post, and that is overwhelming. That seems like a ton of work. If you have a preset list of here's all the different blog posts that would probably work for my area, all you have to do is just grab one of those. Now you have your headline, and now you can actually start outlining this thing. This is a great place to reuse your keywords too. Downtown San Diego condos are competitive. And then you could just simply write a little paragraph underneath that about here's what the market's like currently. It is competitive. You need to go in with this amount of money or have this range of budget in mind. You basically just start filling in the blanks. Downtown San Diego condos are competitive, and I would recommend doing this. Outline your different points. Are they competitive? They're a good investment versus other areas in San Diego. Downtown condos grew in value 22% over the last 5 years, or whatever your numbers are. You can just outline these one after the other. I would suggest that you have your headline, outline it by your points, and then this is where you're going to go back in. You can add pictures, you can add videos, write a paragraph or two under each point, and you're going to end up with a blog post by the time you're done that's very easily in that 600 to 1,000 words type content that's going to be really good for search engines. Composing your blog posts, compose them separately. Over in some kind of document that's going to help you avoid all the stuff where you're writing in your blog editor and then you forget to save and you accidentally close a window, something like that. It's better to save them over here and get all of your text the way that you want it, and then bring it over into your blog editor. And so once it's done here, you literally just copy and paste all of your content over here. So we've got some placeholder text in there. So your heading is going to be your H1. That's just a fancy way of saying it goes one in blog lingo. It goes H1, H2, H3. You can see those up here. It goes all the way to H6, but your main title is the only one that should be H1. And then as you go down, your subheads should all be H2. That tells the search engines that this is a really important piece of text. So using downtown San Diego condos, if that's your keyword, using that in those H2 subheadings is really going to help you out. So any of these numbers, when you're doing the numbered list articles, you're going to want to make those H2s. And then leave these as normal, just paragraph text. So you would copy and paste your article over, and then this is where you would actually go in and start adding in images, adding in videos, all that kind of thing. We would want to insert some other content in here just so that every step down the post, it's very eye-catching. So once you finish this out, publish that sucker. And now when we go back to our blog ideas, you can just scratch that one off the list and have your list of blog ideas ready to go, so that next time when you do have some time to sit down and blog, you're not trying to think of ideas. You have a list to go from. Our next article that we know is going to be, what is the MLS? And as you start getting down toward the bottom of the barrel here, just go back to Google AdWords and start pulling some more keywords, start generating some more ideas for yourself, and just keep a list of all these blog ideas, these headlines that you can just sit down, bang out a good high quality blog post that uses your keywords. That really is it. Just to recap, use the Google AdWords keyword planner to get ideas for real estate keywords, and then just turn those into headlines. Build your list of headlines here. If you can sit down in one sitting, and don't try to do this all at once. One day, come up with 20 headlines for different blog posts, and that's all you're going to do for your blog work, because that's going to set you up for success down the road. The next time you sit down to write a blog post the next week, you know you have this list of headlines to go from. You're not trying to start from scratch. You're not trying to sit down at a blank page and come up with an idea. You just grab the headline off the top of the list and try to get 600 to 1,000 words out of that topic. It really is that easy when you set it up to be sort of systematic and just work the system of putting out a piece of content targeted by keywords every single week. It's not about being creative. It's just about knowing what people are searching for, which is what the Google Keyword Planner helps you do. It helps you know what people are searching for. It helps you know what people are interested in instead of guessing. And then it's about creating a piece of content that answers that question. It's not about being creative or being a good writer. It's about answering the questions and offering expertise for what you know people are interested in.